Hey, Slick Talkers, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And I know that if you love this show, you'll also love my morning show called Good Morning Hospitality with my co hosts Michael Golden and Brandy Canali, as we spend 30 minutes every Monday morning to dive into the industry's top latest news and trending topics. So go check it out on wherever you find your podcasts at Good Morning Hospitality. And you can live stream with us on Monday mornings on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Now, I hope you enjoy this episode.
What's up, guys? Thanks again for tuning into Slick Talk. This is Joe from PBT. If you want to check out our music, feel free to search Perfect by Tomorrow on Spotify and iTunes and all other major music streaming platforms. We have a new album in the works. Hopefully will be released in early June. We're excited to share new music with you guys. We've been working really hard at it. Thanks again for tuning in.
Welcome to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast where we discuss all things hospitality, hotels, and business. You can find us online at slicktalkthepodcast.com and on every podcast listening platform.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slick Talk, or Sleeping In on Slick Talk, as we've recently changed the name. I'm super glad to be here. Thank you guys so much for listening to my episodes and to finally joining me in season 2. I'm really glad to be able to provide this content and also give you guys updated news on what I got going on here in Open Road Hospitality and Sleeping In on Slick Talk. Pretty excited for this episode because it's finally something I get to kind of share some of my expertise that I've learned in the last few years. Especially when it comes to revenue and to, analytics side. So this episode is called Resort Fees and Downturn. And as many of you guys know, 2008, we suffered a major downturn in the economic side of things, as well as hotel industry. So many hotels went bankrupt and went out of business because, people aren't making money, they're not spending money, and when they're not spending money, they're not traveling. That means they're not eating out. That means they're not, renting cars or doing anything that has anything to do with travel, hospitality, and hotels. So restaurants suffered, many hotel properties suffered, and, rent-a-cars, all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to kind of dive into that, and also how, resort fees kind of fluctuate with area and region, as well as property type, whether it's a resort, a minimal service, all that kind of stuff, and what we kind of expect with resort fees. And also a good tool if you're a traveler listening today. I got a good tool for you to check out what hotels and properties, or anything in the area that you plan on traveling, has a resort fee with. So thank you guys again for joining me, and I really hope you get some good quality content from this. So let's kind of dive into resort fees here real quick. A resort fee, owners and managers doing business in resort destinations have long fought for and against the much, hated term, not like term, resort fee. So this surcharge to the booked rate is justified with added amenities and services that come with a resort. Examples for some resort amenities can be pools, or multiple pools, golf courses, tennis courses, spa access, gym access, anything that's kind of customized to that property. I know I worked at a property where they had a daily destination fee, which is a fancy way of covering up resort fee, but it's a $10 a day fee. Where you got complimentary Wi-Fi. It came with the coffee in the room, the access to the gym, 24 access to the gym, the town car service downtown, the complimentary bike rentals if you wanted to ride a bike. And it included those types of amenities. It wasn't really a resort. It was more of a business hotel. So covering it up, they did daily destination fee. So guests had to pay, unless they were a platinum or gold member with Marriott, they had to pay $10 a day extra on top of their rate. So if you're at a small resort, sure, if your rates are super low, might as well add a $10 resort fee. Include some of your amenities if you have complimentary breakfast or all that kind of stuff. But man, this is what I love and what I hate about it. The reason why I love it is because, you can only get, so much revenue per year. There's a term called RevPAR in the industry as revenue per available room. And so, you can only get so much of that every year. You can only raise your rates so much every year. The market is constantly changing, and, so many things and variables go into your rate and how that really can fluctuate. But what I like about the resort fee is that it gives an extra, amount of revenue that the owner and resort or property can make. So not only is there, I think it's probably millions of dollars where, it's added millions of dollars in profit with nearly all of it flowing to the profit line, as the only cost is, credit card commissions from it. That's about it. You're gaining so much, at least maybe not millions of dollars at one property, but let's look at the Great Pacific Northwest region itself. If every property from, I would say, a Courtyard scale or a Best Western Holiday Inn type hotel, nothing below, so no like Motel 6s and Motel 8s or whatever Super 8s you call them, Shiloh Inns, I don't know, no thank you, they don't deserve a resort fee in my opinion. But so let's look at the Great PNW area in an aspect of Courtyard, low scale, Marriott to Holiday Inn and that kind of stuff, Best Western. If they start applying a $10, it doesn't even have to be a day, it could be a $10 resort fee for anybody that's not a first time, or for anybody that is a first time guest at the hotel. So if you stay there multiple times or you're a rewards member, you are no longer mandatory to pay this fee. But if you're a first time visitor, first time guest, you have to pay this $10 resort fee. In the area itself, that would generate millions of dollars, for room revenue, because like I said, we can only raise the rates so much. There's so many events and, weather and travel and all sorts of things that we can do to, get people to travel to our area and specifically our property. But then you add that $10 resort fee or destination fee, whatever you want to call it. That adds just another amount of good extra revenue that you can play with in the future. And this is going to tie into Downturn as well, because we're going to talk a little bit about preventing downturn, what a property can do. There's a lot of not legal, but you got taxes and stuff that you got to think about. So not only are guests paying sales tax if they're in a certain state. I don't think Oregon does not have sales tax on hotels, but we do have city and state lodging taxes, just like everybody else, that the guest has to pay. So now if they're paying a $10 daily destination fee or a $10 one-time fee, that's also, I believe, depending on where you're at, has to be taxed. So now if I'm a guest and I don't travel as much, or I, really am wanting to travel and provide a good experience for my family, whatever it may be, and I have not only a high room rate or out of my comfort zone room rate, and then a $10 daily destination fee or a $10 resort fee with those taxes of lodging and state city taxes, as well as the resort fee taxes, man, that's going to add up. That adds up quick, and it becomes a dissatisfactory factor for your guest survey scores. So you really got to think about, I think the conversation is really focused on, are you going to think about the guest satisfaction scores, or are you going to think about revenue? What's going to be more important? And bottom line for me, at least in the industry, is guest satisfaction, while also maintaining a healthy balance of revenue and growth. So if you're able to find that balance, I find that, if you do a not daily resort fee, just one-time resort fee that covers those amenities, then that's a smart move. And, most guests don't bat an eye. Some will fight it, but you just got to market it clearly when they're booking, when they send the confirmation letter, when they come to the resort, when they book over the phone, all that kind of stuff at check-in. There's many ways you can mention it. So that's my kind of first overall opinion and on resort fees. It's a great way to increase room revenue, which is awesome because as I'm gonna dive in, we had a significant downturn with travel and a lot of properties going out of business because of this economic downturn. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip insider with this because I believe there's a few ways we can prepare for a downturn as an industry standpoint, as an industry leader or an owner or manager. There's ways we can get ourselves ready. And so, the conversation is it near? Are we there yet? Has the cycle finally come to its conclusion of a economic boost and unemployment rates super low and people traveling more and room revenue is increasing? Like, is this finally coming down to its conclusion? Is this going to eventually fade away coming up in 2019? My personal opinion, I'm not a certified analytic yet. I'm in the works of it, but I think 2019 is going to be strong. I think we saw a good, I think it was a 2.4 increase in revenue and occupancy and travel overall this year in 2018. So I think we're going to see, in my opinion, most professional analytics are saying we're going to see another 2.1. I'm saying about a 1.8 for 2019, unless, like I said, these are always major guesses and numbers out there, but there's so many factors that can change into, cancellations and weather and emergencies and all sorts of travel plans going askew, especially with cities and all the variables that, imply into travel. I don't think we'll see as big of an increase like we did, but I definitely do believe we will see a increase in occupancy and RevPAR or ADR either way. But, the length of this current cycle, coupled with a weak November and perhaps most importantly, the roller coaster ride that the stock market has been on, seems to have everyone wondering if this is it. If, the fact is, no one knows for sure, and I don't have a crystal ball, and so I don't know exactly. But for owners and asset managers, it doesn't matter. We know that it's going to eventually happen, and you got to have a plan for it. So to answer the question, is this it? I don't know, and I really can't tell you that I care. Like, I do care, obviously, because I'm in the industry, but I don't know, and so just be prepared. And there's going to be some things that you can do to eventually better off sustain yourself in the long run. So exactly, no one knows exactly when the next downturn will land. We've had a good long run, and the odds are that it's coming sooner rather than later. Obviously, everyone, it's about every 10 years. Tony Robbins and Gary Vee and all these big, manager, fund management, people, business guys, we all know that it's going to happen, but I definitely agree with the statement that it's going to happen sooner than later. Some markets may already be in a downturn. I don't know. Asset managers and owners and operators are, always looking for the next downturn. Carefully analyzing different indicators such as booking pace, inquiries, booking velocity, and recent performance, and all of these kind of things. But it's going to happen, and we're seeing that, and possibly going to see it sooner than later. So asset managers really need to think about, think broadly about the changes or the challenges they face and how those challenges morph into the face of economic change. So really, some examples of ways to maximize preparation for a downturn can include, as part of the budget discussion every year, let's make decisions or make time to discuss. Yeah. For the budget time every year, let's make time to discuss potential reactions to the various downturn scenarios. What will get cut and when is a really good example. There's many ways we can cut back on labor and costs and everything like that to avoid, overspending for when a downturn does occur. Working with operators on ongoing basis to keep staffing levels under control in order to avoid layoffs in the event of a downturn. Now, this is key. You can really, if you set up a good system for your hotel and your property in certain areas with your metrics, you can definitely make sure that you are not going to lose control on your labor costs, because I know there's people, staff members have their own way of doing things, but really setting that policy and procedure as an owner or a manager, you really just got to be firm, lay it down. This is how we're going to do it. This is how it's done. This is why. You don't even need to give the why to most staff members or associates, but giving the why, explaining, this is a business. We do have money that comes in and goes out, and we really got to control on how we're spending that time and money wisely. Excuse me. Grouping up, be more aggressive in a group pricing to lock in future business. Now, this is pretty key because your property may be able to do only so much in RevPAR, but your group sales is really key. There's only so many nights a year that people can book. There's only so many conferences and conventions and meetings and all sorts of reasons for people to come to town. So being on top of your group booking is really, really good, especially when you're being really aggressive and I would say, just pretty much being aggressive with your rates, your group rates, and being able to offer more and really outdoing the competition really can do a lot. So another one you can do is maintain strong relationships with top corporate demand generators to keep them from abandoning you in your time of need. And really, that's just kind of, doing good on your third-party bookings and everything like that. Ensure the guest satisfaction and online reviews remain strong going into the downturn to minimize the impact of potential rate wars, which is, we've talked about this in previous episodes with Adam Knight, who's the owner of Proven Principles. He and I have talked about the guest satisfactions and how employees are looking at their future employers' reviews online, how future guests who are going to be staying with you and or in the area, they're looking at everybody's reviews and who offers the most and how happy others have been. I've had guests comment on a TripAdvisor review that we had at a property. They commented on this one and it made a joke about it and how rude they were, and all the other reviews were great. Like, people do read this and they will mention it to you. Don't be surprised. So, this keeping during the downturn aspect, keeping your reviews high, which is keeping your staff engaged and motivated to get those good reviews during this time is key, because then that's when every revenue meeting you go to, you're going to be in a rate war with the guy right next door, and they got the better reviews. They can have the higher rate. People are going to book it, and you're going to be hurting. So you can also have a long-term capital plan and evaluate the potential impact of a downturn with ownership, particularly from a cash planning perspective. And another one, in some cases, particularly over properties with very high fixed costs, outline and prioritize cost cutting and measures tied to declines in revenue. So, these aren't new ways of preventing downturn, but like I said, if you implement a good, destination fee program or a resort fee where you can increase that revenue, start building up that cash flow, getting those guest satisfaction scores, and maintaining a good group booking for future, months and maybe years in advance. If you have a group in-house, try to book them for next year automatically right away. That's guaranteed. Not guaranteed, there's always cancellations every now and then. We can't control that, but there are ways for that potential revenue of income to come in the future to prevent from your property from going under during a downturn. So thank you guys again for listening to this and listening to me rant about, revenue and, analytics and predictions of the future. I really appreciate everybody who's listening. And if you've listened before, please like, subscribe, share, hit me up on, opinions on the podcast as well as everything else going on with Slick Talk. So if you have or have not already gone to my website, you can visit my website and check out everything on there, everything up to date with the industry and the episodes coming up. I also try to send out newsletters, so stay tuned and subscribe to that. Let's see here. Yeah, go to slicktalkthepodcast.com and you can see current episodes, upcoming episodes, and you can also submit your inquiry for an episode idea or even joining me on a podcast. So I would love to hear your thoughts. You can also message me through the website as well, letting me know what you thought. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk opinions. Let's talk predictions. Let's talk analytics. Let's talk revenue. Let's talk property, whatever you want. I'm going to try to do another hospitality spotlight feature up next, coming up in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. Submit a hotel that you think or a property that you think is good for a hospitality spotlight program. All right, guys, thank you very much. And follow up on slicktalkthepodcast.com or all social media platforms. You can find out what's coming up next and, catch up on everything you missed. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening. We love your support and want to provide the best we can to all our listeners. So please find us online, social media, and on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.
What's up, everybody? If you've gotten this far into the episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast, then you are amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. We want to send you two places really quickly. If you can, check out the show notes and click the hospitality.fm link. Check out all of our other shows on the podcast network. And don't forget, if you have someone that you want to hear on the podcast, then fill out the guest fill-out form so that way we can get them on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy another episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast.